Hello, today's video is about postpartum depletion or postnatal depletion. In honor of Mother's Day yesterday, I thought this would be a good topic to touch on today because so many women out there, myself included, have been suffering from depletion following the birth of their child or children in many cases. So let's just talk, this video is going to be just a little bit about what postnatal depletion is, how to tell if you or a woman you love is suffering from this, and then a few things that can be done to get you out of it. So postnatal depletion is basically a state where your body becomes depleted from having basically given all your great nutrition away to your baby. And this is how nature intended it, obviously, so that our babies could grow strong inside in order to be able to survive once they were born. And the human baby is the most vulnerable and the most needy at birth. And this doesn't help because as a woman is still recovering physically from childbirth and pregnancy, she now has this super needy infant to take care of as well. And in our society, without its lacking support, that indigenous cultures and even our own American culture had prior to the industrialization of this country, we had much more of a support system set up, a multi-generational support system for women, so that this emotional depletion wasn't nearly as prominent. And then the physical depletion wasn't either, because there was a lot more minerals in the soil. People were eating a diet that was a lot less focused on cheap, quick, easy foods and more focused on good nutrition and the basics. So we've gotten really far away from, I think, the way nature intended for things to happen. But so I've gotten a little bit of information. There was a doctor in Australia who's done a lot of research here on postnatal depletion. And what he sort of, just to discuss a little bit more about what it is. So typically a woman will become depleted in iron, minerals, like selenium, iodine, B vitamins, fats, good fats like DHA that get passed through the placenta to the baby when a woman is pregnant, upwards, I think, of 7 grams a day at its height. And what this does basically is it robs the mother of these nutrients. And so if she's not getting proper nutrition, or even if she began her pregnancy in a state of depletion, the likelihood that she's not feeling well following the birth is going to be very great. So here are a few symptoms of somebody who might be suffering from postnatal depletion. We have fatigue, exhaustion, that kind of brain fog or baby brain, tired upon waking, falling asleep unintentionally, hypervigilance, so kind of like this tired but wired feeling where you're super anxious about your kids and following them everywhere, a loss of self-esteem, a sense of guilt or shame around being a mother, frustration, overwhelm, loss of libido. I mean, if any of these sound like you or sound like a woman you love, there's a good chance that she is or you are suffering from postnatal depletion. And what this can do is over time, it may be just 1 or 2 things right now, but over time, if we don't address this, what happens is life compounds. We have the stress of finances perhaps, or other children, and just having a lot on our plates. And what happens is our emotions start to go downhill, which is, at the extreme can lead to postnatal or postpartum depression, which can be quite severe for many women. And they've and this Dr. Celorak that I just mentioned who has done a lot of studying on this. He estimates that actually the greatest period of depletion occurs about 4 years after a baby is born. So not right after. So if you've had more than one baby in 4 years, then the chance that you're very depleted is great. So there's a few things that you can do if you find, if you're watching this and you're like, yes, that sounds like me. And it definitely has been me as well. And I'm somebody who's been very focused and into nutrition and things. But what I found is that, one, you have to be willing to do the stuff. And you have to do it with consistency because, it wasn't a week that it took for my body to get to a depleted state. It was 9 months, plus another pregnancy, plus another pregnancy. So it takes time to rebuild these stores of vitamins, minerals, fats, amino acids in our bodies. And if we don't give ourselves that time, if we're not patient through that process, looking for the little ways in which we're changing, in which things are moving in the right direction, then it can be really easy to get discouraged and to stop doing whatever program that you've started. So here are a few. This Dr. Celorak has this cool little acronym called SPAN, which is Sleep, Purpose, Activity, Nutrition. He says that those 4 things can really help a woman get out of this state of postnatal depletion. But where do you start? So in my experience, and from what I know, the best place to start is with some nutrition, because that's going to positively affect all those other areas. If you're not having any activity because you have no energy, nutrition can help that. If your sleep is really poor, probably because you're lacking amino acids and melatonin, nutrition can help with that as well. And then having a purpose. Most of us mothers, I feel like it can take a while before you even feel like you can have a purpose other than being with your children or raising your children. Or even if your purpose is to just raise really amazing human beings, it's a lot easier to put a lot more of your own energy into that when you don't feel so awful. So let's start with the phase 1 sort of this, which is the nutrition part. So there's a lot of different things you can do. And for somebody, one, if you're somebody who is more of the Western medicine, go to your doctor, get blood workup, done. Find out what kind of food sensitivities you have or any deficiencies you have in your minerals or your amino acids or vitamins. And then that's a good place to start by replacing those. There are a lot of supplements out there. You don't have to rely solely on food, because most food, just typical food, even if it's organic food, is lacking in a lot of minerals and vitamins, and it's really low in life force. So that's why a lot of times superfoods are a better way to go, because you can get a lot of nutrition packed into one little thing. And so it makes this process of recovery a lot shorter. So the nutrition part is key. Amino acids, those have been huge for me. I've been taking these pre-digested amino acids lately, and I have felt just so much more focus and organization in my head since I've been taking those. And I just thought, oh, I'm just, ADD a little bit, whatever. But I'm seeing now that it has more to do with the fact that my brain just has not fully recovered from having had my children. And that's not surprising. My youngest is almost 1.5 years. My oldest is almost 8. So it's like in the space, this doctor estimates that postpartum depletion can occur and last up to 10 years, perhaps longer, if a person or a woman was already depleted. So it's like I'm definitely within that. But I can feel that since I've been getting that, and since I've been getting some really good greens, I've been drinking a green drink every single day for the last probably 6 weeks, and that has been huge. I've felt so much more energy since doing that. And then I've also been taking tart cherry juice. So for those of you not familiar with tart cherry juice, and it has to be the concentrate, not just some crappy Walmart brand. Sorry, Walmart, but you're not known for selling the best products. But it needs to be a nice organic, concentrate of this tart cherry juice. But what they found is that tart cherries actually contain melatonin. It's the only food, it's the only source of melatonin that your body doesn't have to make from serotonin. But just to give you a little bit of information about serotonin, serotonin is largely, and I mean like 80 to 90% of it is produced in your gut, in your digestive tract. So if you have digestive issues, if you have low stomach acid, if you have a poor, gas, bloating, problems with constipation, poor absorption, if you have parasites, candida, all these things are affecting your body's ability to produce serotonin. And serotonin is needed in order to produce melatonin. So here's a good little tip to find out if you are low in serotonin. About 4 or 5 o'clock each afternoon, your body will take its serotonin stores and take some of that to make melatonin so you can sleep. So if you notice that about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon every day, your mood dips drastically. You feel sleepy, but like not sleepy in a like, oh, I'd like to go sleep, but just tired. And your mood dips a lot. So you're feeling very agitated, not nearly as patient. That's a good sign that your body's low in serotonin, and a good sign that the tart cherry juice can be really helpful for you. So those are a few things that I've been doing, which are just very simple to help me to get back to a state where I'm no longer depleted in my physical body. And what I've noticed is that in the last 6 weeks of doing this, that my desire to be more active has increased, that my sleep has increased, and that the purpose that I have, even here doing these videos, you know, the getting out there and sharing what I have to share with the world has become a lot easier for me. And I know that a lot of that has to do with feeling better physically. So feeling better physically is really the first step. If anyone watching this needs more information, if you would like more, you know, to know about the specific products I'm taking, you're welcome to ask me about those. Or if you, you know, just need any other additional guidance other than what's on this video, just let me know. And then the second step is to get more activity and sleep, which, like I said, the first step will really help with that. The more nutrition you have in your body, the more stable your physical body is, the more stable your emotions will be, the more motivated you'll feel to do things. And then the third step, according to this doctor, is to, at that point, to start to be okay with the process of motherhood and what it does. You know, and it can be a really harsh reality to become a mother, to watch your body change and not know if you will ever get it back to where it was, to see your life, to see the things that you cared about fall by the wayside so that you can care for these other people in your life. And that can be filled with a lot of emotions, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, as he mentioned. You can have a lot of resentment and anger and things. So it's really important, once you're in a better emotional and physical state, to really start to examine the role of being a mother and how that is changing you for the better, and to really focus on those aspects rather than continuing to berate yourself or to look at how things have changed for the negative. So I hope that this has helped anybody who is in this state of postnatal depletion or has a loved one in this state. And again, if anybody has any additional questions, you're welcome to ask me. I am here to help. And I hope everybody has a wonderful day. See you.